All right, let's dive in. We're going to talk about the invisible guardians of our modern world. The super complex automated systems that pretty much run everything. They keep the lights on, build our stuff, and pretty soon they'll be driving our cars. But here's the thing. These systems have to be more than just smart. They have to be, well, unfailingly dependable. So, how on earth do we make sure of that? Let's find out. So, what do these things have in common? I mean, a power plant, a factory robot, a self-driving car. On the surface, they seem completely different, right? You've got massive energy grids, super precise manufacturing, and then these autonomous cars trying to navigate our crazy streets. But believe it or not, they share this one critical, super high-stakes connection. And here it is. They all run on these incredibly complex automated systems where, well, failure just isn't an option. For these kinds of industrial systems, a single bug or one little glitch isn't just an inconvenience. It could be totally catastrophic. And that is the core challenge engineers are wrestling with every single day. How do you build systems that we can literally trust with our lives? So the key word we need to lock in on here is dependability. And this term goes way beyond just asking, hey, does it work? No, it's about the total trustworthiness of a system. Is it reliable? Is it safe, as in it won't cause harm? And is it secure from, outside threats? It's really the whole package. Now, here's the problem. These systems are getting just unbelievably complex. We're talking millions of lines of code that have to interact with a physical world that's, well, completely unpredictable. So our old school ways of testing things, you build it, then you try to break it, they just can't keep up anymore. The sheer number of things that could go wrong is just, it's overwhelming. And this chart really drives home the economics of failure. Think about it. Finding a bug when it's just an idea on a drawing board? Super cheap to fix. But finding that same bug after it's been deployed in, say, thousands of cars or a national power grid, the cost isn't just high, it explodes. It's exponential. So the big takeaway here is crystal clear. We have to find these problems as early as humanly possible. Okay, so the first big attempt to solve this whole early detection problem came from a pretty brainy place, the world of pure logic and math. The idea was, instead of just testing a system after you build it, what if you could actually prove it was correct before you even write a single line of code? And this led to a field called formal methods. The best way to think about it is like creating a perfect mathematical blueprint for your system. Using this really precise logic, you could analyze that blueprint and check for any flaws or dangerous behaviors, all before you build the real thing. It's a pretty brilliant concept. This slide shows you exactly why that matters. On the left, you've got a requirement in plain English, something like, the system should be safe. I mean, okay, but what does safe actually mean? It's ambiguous, right? It's open to interpretation. But on the right, a formal specification defines safety with mathematical precision. There is zero room for misinterpretation. It either is or it isn't. But, and there's always a but, right? Formal methods had some pretty big drawbacks. For one, you basically needed a PhD to use them. They were also incredibly labor-intensive, just a ton of manual effort. And they really struggled to scale up to the massive complex systems we're building today. So while the idea of mathematical proof was fantastic, the method itself just couldn't keep up. A new approach was definitely needed. And that brings us to the modern solution. This is one that takes the spirit of those formal methods, that love of rigor, and combines it with the incredible power of modern computing and simulation. This new way of thinking is called digital engineering, and it's all about building and testing everything in a virtual world first. So digital engineering basically stands on three core pillars, and each one builds on the last. First up, you've got model-based systems engineering, or MBSE. Think of this as the high-level master plan. Then, that plan gets fleshed out with model-based design, MBD, which provides the detailed functional blueprints for every little component. And finally, you have digital twins, which bring the whole thing to life as an ultra-realistic virtual copy. Now, the real magic happens when you weave these three pillars together. You create what's called a digital thread. And what that means is suddenly every single requirement is linked directly to a piece of the design, which is then linked to a functional model that you can test in the digital twin. It creates this seamless, traceable connection all the way from the first spark of an idea to the final validation. Okay, so that's the theory. Sounds pretty cool, right? But how does this stuff actually work in the real world? To see it in action, let's dive into a case study. Testing an autonomous off-road vehicle in a really high-stakes scenario. So here's the setup. You've got an autonomous vehicle cruising down a dirt road when all of a sudden, a herd of deer just appears, completely blocking the path. This is a classic edge case for a self-driving system. It's that unexpected thing that the system has to handle perfectly, in this case, by slamming on the brakes. So the question is, how can you test that safely and over again? And this is where the digital twin comes into play. It's not just a simple animation, it's a high-fidelity virtual world. Every little bit of the vehicle's physics, its sensors, its software, it's all simulated with incredible realism. You can run that deer scenario 1,000 times, 1,000,000 times, and never have to worry about harming a single real animal or wrecking a single real vehicle. Now, behind that slick visual is the system architecture. That's the MBSE master plan we were talking about. This is the digital thread right here, in action. You can actually see how the camera data flows into the perception block, which then informs the planning block, which then tells the control block what to do. Every single part is connected and totally traceable. So, how many tests did they actually run? This is where the power of automation just blows your mind. They took different software versions for perception, planning, and control, and then they cross-referenced them with different times of day and different weather conditions. That automatically generated a whole battery of 128 unique test cases. I mean, trying to do that in the real world would be basically impossible. And for every single one of those 128 tests, tons of detailed performance data is logged automatically. You can see it right here. Things like vehicle speed, throttle and brake inputs, even jerk, which is basically a measure of how smooth or jerky a maneuver feels to a passenger. It captures the number of animal detections, the distance to a potential collision, all of it. This gives engineers a massive amount of objective data to analyze. And this slide is so cool because it shows how all that data helps engineers make really tough decisions. So here they're comparing two different emergency braking algorithms. Planning B, the smooth one, is clearly safer. It avoids collisions more often. You think that's the winner, right? But check this out. Planning A, the more abrupt stop, actually scored way higher on passenger comfort and, because of that, was the better overall design. This is the kind of mind-blowing, data-driven insight that was just impossible to get before. So, what does this all mean? What's the big picture here? Well, this case study isn't just about one cool off-road vehicle. It's really a preview of a massive, fundamental shift in how we build things that we absolutely need to trust. We are moving away from that old model of build it, then test it. The new paradigm is all about continuous verification. From the very first concept, the system is being built, simulated, and validated inside a virtual world. Testing is no longer the last thing you do. It's an integrated part of the entire process, from start to finish. And the benefits are just huge. By finding problems early in a virtual world, the whole process becomes dramatically faster, it's way cheaper, and most importantly, by running thousands of tests that would be too dangerous or expensive to even think about in reality, the final product becomes fundamentally safer. Faster, cheaper, and safer. You can't beat that. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We've just seen how digital engineering can build a more dependable self-driving car. But just imagine what happens when we apply the same philosophy to the even more complex systems of the future. I'm talking about the next generation of AI or the spacecraft that are going to take us to other planets. Designing for dependability inside a virtual world first, well, that might just be the key to unlocking our most ambitious dreams.